Good morning, traders. Please like the video if you can, and comments below on the YouTube channel if you can give me a chance. And you can retweet me at Gumby9662C on X if you get a chance, guys. This is the morning brief video. Hello, how you guys doing? Had a really good day yesterday. I plan on taking today pretty well off. I'm working again today. So some things that I'm looking at here. This wedge formation right here, this is based off the August low trend. Okay. We're currently broke below back inside the wedging formation as of yesterday. Uh, so be very mindful of that. Okay, we're on the weekly webs. If I zoom in on the weekly webs here, you can see some price action I'm looking at here. So, so be very mindful here on ES's. This here was the breakout point. So, quite frankly, we do have a possible critical pivot we're currently trying to defend this morning here on the ES's. Okay, so in my opinion, that's more of a minor pivot. I'd much rather have a weekly support to be buying the dip off of. This is a fairly minor support this morning. So the more sustainable uh, around the 5900 5910 area is, in my opinion, a better support area. So we'll see what happens this morning. Like I said, we're back inside the wedge, so anything can happen here. Uh, but yeah, if you are a bull, you're looking for the proper backtest point to initiate new longs. Uh, this is an area of interest, but I'm not saying it's an area that I particularly want to be looking into the long side yet. So heads up on that. Okay. So far this morning, the August low trend, we have still held support on the August low trend on the NQs. So, and we have looked below, we have looked below uh, two other times. So, trend is still up here on the NQs. If I zoom in here real quick. Okay. Uh, we have a minor right there, that volume profile right there. Uh, we have a minor volume bubble right there. Okay. So, just keep in mind here, guys, all these people up here are trapped, and there's really no impetus to drive us up into OPEX, which they could. Uh, there's really no impetus to drive us up in OPEX because these guys are trapped. So what we've been hearing on the news is really good about telling us what's happening without telling us what we need to know. Okay. This morning they were talking about how much volume flowed into the stock market after the election, after Trump got elected. But the markets aren't telling about how much uh, out of the money uh, uh, call premium was sold at these highs. Okay, it really isn't telling what's actually happening. That the smart money was more than willing to write as much premium as they possibly could do up at these highs. And now that we're down, they're getting paid big time off the backs of retail of the euphoric. They saw that euphoria come into the market, that euphoric price action, and they sold right into it, and they took the credit, and now they're just letting the market bleed down. There's no real reason for smart money to support the markets because there was so much premium sold up there, and they can go in, bleed right into OPEX now, and bleed off all those that billions of dollars, American dollars or global dollars that flooded into the market after the election, and Wall Street can keep the money, and that's exactly what basically is going on here, in my opinion. And there's really no reason to jump in before OPEX, as far as I'm concerned. So just be very mindful of that. Uh, well, yeah, that's just pretty much my take on things. Even if they just go sideways into OPEX here, it's still they get paid billions by just not just bleeding off the markets away from this massive area of premium selling. Okay, so so be very mindful. And remember, guys, we were at 100-year resistance on the S&Ps. Trend line that was formed from 1927 and the tech bubble in 2000. We were right into that on the S&Ps, and you know, and it just, to me, it didn't make any sense at all that all the media was coming on there talking about how this market is just going to such and such. Everybody's all euphoric, everybody's all bullish, and we're right into a 100-year resistance on the markets. So it had all the telltale signals that they had media on the payroll and all the ratings agency on the payroll to pump the markets to high heaven. So smart money like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all of them could write as much premium as they possibly can into the markets, which they did. And now we brought it down, and they're going to get paid big time as long as they can subdue price action in the markets. So that is our primary theme that we have to look out for now, is price suppression as they bleed off all that premium from this week's expiration, but mainly into OPEX expiration, because there's billions of dollars in OPEX that were sold up there that that are still in play here, and that's why it just doesn't make much sense at all for them to try to support prices going into OPEX. So be very mindful, in my opinion. Okay. And what supports this more than anything that I can see, what exactly just happened here, is the things that ran up so hard on the Trump victory, Tesla and the Russell, they're the ones getting punished the most. So those the last traders that came into the market, they're the ones actually getting impacted the strongest here in this market. Okay, so be very mindful what's going on here. As far as the Russell's going here, we are, you see how on the weekly here, there just isn't any support at this current price point. We have a trend line support, a minor trend line support, but as far as a volume support, there really isn't. This could be a higher low above, uh, could be putting a higher gap in right here. Ideally, the value area low, 23, another 10 points lower here on the Russell, is a better fit, but that still isn't that great. Uh, so, in my opinion, I'd much rather have 2310 as a potential support. I'd much rather have 2310, 2310 all the way down to basically to 2295. This area to become new support, in my opinion. This is a much better area to build support. So we'll see what happens on the Russell. Powell came out yesterday saying there's no big hurry to do anything with interest rates. Well, so far this morning, they're coming in here supporting the bonds. Really opposite of what you would think from the news. So anytime I start seeing an opposite reaction to the news, then I start, yeah, I gotta be a little bit concerned here with the markets. So basically, what they've done, they sold into the Powell press conference, and since then, now that the news is out, it's kind of like a relief. The relief valve has happened, and we're catching a little bit of bid back into the bond markets. So he didn't say anything that was bad enough to break down the markets, in my opinion, break down the bond markets, in my opinion. He just pretty much told us what we needed to hear. Um, so, uh, that could be, excuse me, a little supported to the markets sometime early here today. At least this thing isn't breaking the new lows after that press conference. So that's a good sign here, a potential good sign that markets will be supported here soon. I'm going to cover one last thing here. One big warning that we got going on here. You see, we had the Trump rally. The semiconductors were not did not maintain and hold new highs. This is a big warning that the AI trade there could be a massive rotation out of the AI trade with the uh, conclusion of the election. Not saying it could have happened with either one, either party, but what I'm seeing here is far far more relative weakness in semis since the election, as money's rotating out of semis into uh, other things post-election, like small caps and stuff like that. Uh, Initially here. Um, so be very mindful of that. What's happening here? The only thing holding the semiconductors together, and that is our very overpriced semiconductor, NVIDIA. And I think this thing is just going to get spanked on earnings. So we'll see what happens here. I think the SMH is warning us that the valuations, the growth expectations in semiconductors are coming back down to reality, and the growth expectations in NVIDIA are through the roof. So, even good numbers, you know, okay guidance is probably not going to be enough, in my opinion, to support the massive valuation NVIDIA currently has. So be very mindful of that. This is probably the most dangerous stock to be going into next week's earnings. Yeah, and that's why I said next week's earnings. Right into OPEX, getting the mother of all mother earnings coming out the 20th. Yeah, next week, the 20th. So that's Tuesday, I think. So next Tuesday, the mother of all earnings reports is coming out on NVIDIA. And this is by far one of the highest price to earnings ratio stocks out in the market. And so it has, when the markets flip to a sell side, they do not want to uh, prop up the high PE names. So be very mindful of that. And one final news bullet point this morning. There is news out overnight that Berkshire dumped more shares of Apple. So this thing here could be under pressure today in today's trading. So be very mindful of that. Warren Buffett now has one of the largest cash piles the company has ever seen in history. So over 300 billion was the last read. With this latest sell, it's hard to say how much of cash pile he's got going on here, but he is running for the hills. And the big rally in the dollar, this is a massive run to safety, the safety of the dollar. So we got this big rally in the dollar. Every post election, we got collapses happening. You got the DAX and you got the CAC 40 over in Europe. They're all breaking head and shoulder supports, potentially breaking down. So be very mindful of that. Uh, there's a lot of things happening in Europe that are negative. Um, so be mindful, quite mindful of that. Uh, so be very mindful of what's happening. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening, and good luck today. Like I said, I probably won't be trading. Um, I kind of like to see the markets come down further, and I do think the risk reward um, short the resistance is probably the wisest course of action until after OPEX. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind. So anytime we have a big euphoric bubble, Wall Street's going to do everything in their power to steal that money back away from the public. Okay, so just be very mindful of exactly what situation we're currently in. And that's exactly what we're in my opinion. Okay, thanks.